Hi, this is Linda Welsh from Linda Welsh Realty Group at Compass. I wanted to talk to you today about the importance of pricing right. So we are in a hot market again. It may not feel that way to some people, especially sellers, if you've been overpriced. So I want to talk about the importance of starting with the right price, or if you are not at the right price, for making those adjustments quickly. So what we're seeing currently is an increased activity in buyer interest in purchasing. But at the same time, we've seen quite a correction in prices and values. Unfortunately, a lot of sellers are still hanging on to that hope they're going to be able to price their home at something that is maybe other properties in their neighborhood have sold at in the last couple of years. So we had a very, very hot market during COVID. During 2021, 2022, we saw people paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in some cases over the asking price for a home that was on the market. What we're seeing now is that prices, depending on the area, have decreased anywhere from 11% to 20% or more. Now, you're really going to have to evaluate what things are selling for in your particular neighborhood, and then also remember that not everybody is going to buy based on dollar per square foot. This is a common misconception. Dollar per square foot is what you may see as a marker when evaluating homes. However, if you're dealing in higher end markets, condition and location and view all play in a lot to what the pricing might be. In entry-level homes, we might see homes priced in the 200 something per square foot or $300 per square foot. In the higher end, it could go all the way up from $300 to over $1 million in some cases, but it really depends on all of those things. What is the value of the land? How much land is included? What is the view? Do you have an incredible view or waterfront? Do you have a view of the city? And then, of course, you do have to look at the historical information about other properties that have recently sold, typically within the last 3 to 6 months only, in your particular area, or those homes that you're competing with. So keep in mind that while appraisers really need to use historical data on properties that have sold, those properties that are on the market at the same time as yours in the same neighborhood, those are the same properties that a buyer is going to look at. So if they're going to go out and look at 6, 12, 15 homes, if a property is overpriced, they may not even look at it. If they look at it, they may be interested in the property, but a lot of times what we hear is, I don't know if I'm going to offend the seller if I make an offer, number one. Or number two, if I'm going to be able to afford this house, because obviously the seller thinks it's worth, or the listing agent thinks it's worth a whole lot more than we think it's worth. Now, obviously, if somebody is getting a loan, they're also going to have to appraise. Now, what we want to tell sellers is, look, you can price a property where you want, but if you're not getting enough activity and if you're not getting offers, then what that's telling you is that your home is overpriced. Unless it's highly, highly unusual and you're just not going to get many people to look at it. Let's say it has 2 bedrooms and it's on 20 acres and it has no garage and no outbuilding. Well, that's going to be a very specific buyer. If it's a very highly priced property, then obviously just the price is going to be a reason why you're going to have fewer showings. But if it's somewhere in the mainstream of pricing, you really need to ask yourself, if I'm not getting the showings, something's off. Either it's the condition, it did not photograph well, or the pricing is off. So I would say you really need to talk to your realtor, get an in-depth and very honest assessment of where you are. And if you have already priced your property and it may be too high, you really need to take another look at it. Because even if you hold out for that price, if somebody's going to get an appraisal down the line, and most properties will include a loan, then you're hanging on to something that may not even appraise, in which case the buyer is going to come back to you and say, hey, Mr. Seller, this home is not worth what we even offered on it. And so now we're either going to ask you to adjust the price down to where it appraised, or we may back out of the deal. And in most cases, a buyer will use that tactic and they will back out of the deal if the seller hangs on to their price point and it's over the valuation that an appraiser will give it. So again, this is Linda Welsh from Linda Welsh Realty Group. We're here to give you the honest truth, and we really want to help you sell your home. So if you have any questions, please reach out. We're happy to help. Thanks.